Hi guys, welcome back to Vlogs for You. I'm here with my labor and delivery story time. I went ahead and wrote down everything that I remember and I put it in order. That way I don't forget anything. June 19th was Chris's mom's wedding. We came home around 12 a.m. the next day, obviously. So it was June 20th. I changed into my PJs and I went to the bathroom, did whatever I needed to do. I went to go pee. Around 12:25, my water broke. So I told Chris, and Chris had told me to call his mom to see what she said. And she told me to go to the hospital. And I didn't want to go to the hospital just to be sent back home. So I decided to call my mom and see what she said. And she told me to call my doctor and go from there. So I call my doctor and she's like, yeah, sounds like your water. So come on in, we'll hook you up to the monitor and we'll see if your water actually broke. Around 1:30, we get to the hospital and I wasn't having any contractions. So they decided to swab me to see if I had amniotic fluid down there. And according to that test, it would tell me if my water broke. And that test came back negative, so that meant that my water didn't break. So she was like, I'm gonna go do an ultrasound just to make sure. And I said, okay. So as she's doing the ultrasound, she's taking pictures and I'm like panicking because why is she taking pictures? So she ends up telling me like, oh, she just bought herself a room. And I started crying because I didn't expect to go to the hospital and actually have my baby, even though I knew my water broke because I had just peed and emptied out my bladder. But I think it was I was nervous, I didn't know what to expect, and I was just caught off guard. At 3:30, I got to my room. It was around 3:30. So my room was 357, and since I wasn't contracting after my water had broken, they had to induce me. So around 4:30, they inserted the balloon. And let me tell you, the pain that the balloon gave me was worse than the contractions I was having on the Pitocin. So that'll tell you a lot. But when they insert the balloon, they had told me when I'm actually 4 centimeters dilated, the balloon will just slip out. So around 7 o'clock, I knew I was 4 centimeters dilated, for sure. At 9, they came in to check me, and I was 6 centimeters dilated. At 1 o'clock, they come again to check me, and I did not progress whatsoever. So at this point, I am dying. Not like before. The reason why I went that long on Pitocin is because the pain I was feeling on the balloon, yeah, that was me dying. Literally dying. So at 1 o'clock, I decided to get on the medication that makes you feel a little woozy. That way I didn't have to get the epidural. So I went into the hospital not even thinking about the epidural. Like, to me, it just didn't exist. So if women back in the day could do it without any pain medication or anything, I could do it. After that wore off, I wanted to get it again, but they had said no because they started noticing that his heart was dropping every time I was contracting. So they wanted to monitor that without me being on any medication, just in case I had to get a C-section. So as that was going on, they had told me that they wanted to do a little bit of testing, which involved a catheter being inserted into me. So they wanted to test if the contractions were strong enough, and if they were, I would have to get a C-section, and if not, they would have to increase the Pitocin, which again, like I had said, his heart was dropping every time I was having a contraction. So they would have to put fluid into the uterus if I wanted to if they were gonna put more increase of Pitocin. So I felt either way like I needed to get a C-section. And at that point when they were telling me that his heart was dropping, I was just like, whatever, let's just go with the C-section, because honestly I was worried for him and I was crying. I was really crying. I was nervous. I was stressed. I was scared. At 4:30 I got the epidural. They entered the catheter. They put in fluid into the uterus to increase my Pitocin. Around 5 o'clock I got a new nurse. She did techniques on me or with me so I can dilate. So around 6:30, 7 o'clock I started getting a fever. I literally had 4 blankets on me because I was so cold. So after I had those blankets on me, the nurse had told me, like, I have to take these blankets off you. I don't want your fever to get worse. So if you want, I can leave you with 1. But if you're still cold, I'll leave you with 2. But 2 is what I'm willing to give you. I'm sitting there with 2 blankets on me, freezing to death. After that, after the fever, I was feeling a lot of pain. And I had told my nurse, and my nurse was like, no, all you're feeling is pressure. Like, honey, I know what pain felt like before I got any medication, and after I got onto Pitocin, and before I got on the epidural, and after I was on the epidural. And what I was feeling then was pain, not pressure. Because what I was feeling after the epidural, yeah, that was pressure, because I wasn't feeling pain whatsoever. I didn't say that to her because I don't want to be rude. But I was being extremely, like, rude to pretty much everyone, I feel. Especially to Chris, because I'm in pain, and when you're in that much pain, you just want someone to rub your back. And if they're not rubbing your back how you want it, you're going to give them an attitude. And I was giving Chris an attitude because he was rubbing me how I wanted to be rubbed, especially where the pain was. Oh my god. At 10:10, I felt the need to push. And by feeling the need to push, I mean feeling the need to poop. Since Chris's mom was there, she was like, yeah, you're feeling the need to poop, you're gonna have this baby. I ended up telling the nurse, and I was like, I really need to push the baby. I feel like he's about to come out. And she's like, I really don't want to check you because you had ruptured. But again, I had told her I need to push. And she goes down there, checks me, and says that the baby's up high. My cervix is still thick, and I haven't dilated. So I'm like, okay. So the next time I felt the need to poop, I pushed a little, even though Chris was sitting there telling me not to push because I was going to rip or whatever. I still pushed a little. Around 10:20 was when I actually felt like I had to push. And I told Chris I had to push. And at this point I couldn't control it. So he was like, no, you're going to rip. Don't push. So I beeped the nurse, and the nurse and the doctor's assistant comes in, and he tells me, the doctor's assistant tells me, yeah, his head's right there, you're gonna have to push. So 10:22, I started pushing, and he was born at 10:33. So since I had the fever and they wanted to know what happened, they took him to the NICU. They did tests on me and him. But yeah, the day we came home was the 22nd, and he had a little surgery. So I wasn't producing enough milk. I wasn't producing milk at all. Just the clear little fluid that was like anybody's, something like that. And they were telling me like, oh, you'll produce what the baby needs. And I was producing very little. So I didn't want to starve him to death. So the day he came home, I gave him formula because he was in pain. And yeah. And to this day, I'm not really producing as fast as he needs it. So I decided to stop because honestly, props to the moms who are still breastfeeding, who have breastfed for 8 months, because honestly, it's painful. Like, you'll go about your day and all of a sudden you'll feel so much pain. Like, you'll literally want to sit there and squeeze it out so the pressure just disappears. It's painful. So for the amount of milk I was producing, I felt like it was not worth it. And I was giving him milk, but my milk was kind of like a snack to him because, like I said, I wasn't producing as fast. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!